My name is Morgan Vanderpool. I use they or he pronouns. I was raised on Ohlone land and have loved this Cascadia ecosystem for 16 years on Puyallup land. And right now I'm a nomad. I have the privilege of being a creator in community, a mover, and somebody who's deeply committed to helping us become the neuromechanics of collaboration with each other. And I get the opportunity to do that through like facilitation, which I love. So if you want me to come somewhere to facilitate, super down. One-on-one consultation. I'm a choreographer and a performer. I'm a drag king, just came from a 3-day drag festival. My stage name there is Captain Morgasm. You're welcome. You may see him come out. And do a little bit of flowing together. Will be like some opportunities for downloads about our bodies, some ways to work it in our own body, and then some ways to work it with each other. By all means, when we're gathering together, this is a choice-based place. I'm going to offer y'all some stuff to try. You do not need to feel obligated. Please digest it as you need to. Any learning access needs that you want to shout out, please let me know. If you want me to move away from the board, like, let's make this as collaborative as possible. Yeah? Sounds good? So I got some agreements for us to be able to hang out well with each other today. One, I want to make sure that we can answer with our body before words. So if you like something that's said by anybody in this space, like yes, please give it a big old yes. Or some spirit fingers or some snaps. I know the PNW likes to be quiet, but also some sound is welcome. You're allowed to cheer somebody on if they're doing a good job, or like hold them with a moan if there's an aching thing happening. Like, let's remind each other we're here together, eh? And then if you have a clarification moment, I know I can talk real fast when I get excited, or I may say something you've never heard before, like please throw up a C to clarify, be like, what? And if you have something to add, it can go either way. We switchy here. You can also throw up an R in sign language as a response, like, oh, a response just came to me. If it's a good time, I'll catch you. Otherwise, I'll have you to ask it, write it down, and we can like metabolize later with each other, eh? And then, why do you keep turning off? I need you to stay on. Okay, and then also a big learning principle that I want to bring to this space is the acronym of CARE. So I really want, first start off, like self-care is community care, but let's make this an acronym of collectively attuning to restorative experiences. So we have some models of care that are embedded in systems of harm that we don't want to do to each other anymore. So let's figure out how we create care with collectively attuning to restorative experiences. So first and foremost, we ask what that is for ourselves, and then we collaborate with the body around us, yeah? And I think with that, we can hold a good space with one another. There's some other learning elements I'll bring in and like state on purpose that I'm incorporating it. But if we start there, I think we're going to be in a good spot, yeah? Okay, so the title of today is Tending the Fire of Our Body's Survival. When I think about that, our body, one of our biggest fires inside our body is adrenaline. Yeah, it lights you the fuck up. It makes you capable of things you never knew you were, and we are all coursing with it like we are just sucking it from the fucking teat right now. Yay! Oh my God, it's so cute. So, because we're on fire and our planet is on fire, we gotta learn how to burn well together because it's happening. I wonder if we could do some group resourcing around like what are the impacts of adrenaline on our body, what it helps us with, what it might cause long term, and also adrenaline like co-hangs out with cortisol. So we're talking about the two, they're hanging out. So what does adrenaline feel like in your body? Reduces pain. Increases your heart rate. Makes you feel stronger physically, centralizes your focus and awareness. Shuts down digestion. Creates some confidence. Yeah, totally. Step up to the fight. Let's go. Some long. And it can shut you the fuck down, both and, depending on if you run sympathetic or parasympathetic in your body, for sure. Increases acetylcholine, so your muscles function real well together. We get endorphins. So we get like a pickup. Yeah, risk seekers, anybody? Any long-term ones? Like what adrenaline does long-term in our bodies? Adrenal fatigue. Sometimes it just stops producing because you're like, I just did too much. It's like, you get wrung out. But say it stays pulsing in our body and it does the like adrenaline and cortisol cycle. Depletes stored minerals. Contributes to a lot of chronic illnesses. Yeah. Some of them that are more easily linked and documented are certain forms of cancer, diabetes, ways that our body carries weight and swelling more than it can handle. A lot of ways that it plays out. We talked about calcification. Calcification is one of like the tertiary responses of adrenaline continuing to hit a system. So a lot of the like ways we talked about in the beginning, those come up. Acid reflux, like gut's just like not happy. Yeah. Maybe down to start drawing a body. Cool. Okay. So I want to offer a little bit of a movement practice. So if you have things that are in the middle of the floor, if you'd be down to move them to the side of the space. And again, your body could stay where you're at, but I want to clear the floor around you. And I'm going to play a little bit of music. Oh, hello, spider. I love you so much. Just don't. What you doing? Are you beetle? Are you spider? Okay. Okay, and so as this music's playing, I'm gonna invite you all into some like measurable truths of our body to just get into like the pure neuromechanics of what we get to walk around in these flesh suits with every day, or lie around or sit around or whatever you're up to. So do whatever you might need to do to like reestablish yourself. Y'all have been kind of like fixed in one spot. Make some sort of choice to be like, I am choosing to be in just my body. I'm no longer orienting towards teacher, no longer, you know, you are free to move. Alrighty. So our wonderful nervous system that is conducting signals, neurochemicals, electricity all throughout our body. Its primary trunk that helps us know if we're okay or not okay, aka our vagal system. Its direction of conduction runs 85% body to your brain and 15% brain to your body. Your brain is much more a perception organ of what your body is trying to tell it rather than its own separate entity. So giving yourself some moments here to really let yourself start to feel those currents that are going body to brain and give them whatever sort of dosing of love feels good to you right now. Big old thank you, some fuck yeses, some high fives, whatever kind of appreciation. And that's happening whether we're paying attention to it or not. And maybe notice if there's a movement that you can do, whether it's internal or if it's a little bit bigger and could be externalized. What is a movement that reassures your body that you can listen in that direction? And how would you breathe if you were breathing 85% from the body up? Now this beautiful 85% bottom up system is moving through the world with a bunch of other bodies that are doing the same. And 85% of our connection between each other happens body to body. No words, no thoughts. It's the 500 muscles that aren't involved in speech. And granted, they are involved in facial expression, but a good portion of our muscles are just supporting us and communicating through movement, through posture, through presence, through care, that collectively attuning to restorative experiences kind of care. And one way that our bodies are communicating with each other through that 85% body to body is through the rhythm of our hearts. As they're beating, keeping us alive, their electric magnetic rhythm emanates out from our body in an 8-foot radial sphere. So 8 feet from my body at any point, down, up, side to side, diagonal, all over the place around me, my rhythm is emanating out and aiming to perceive rhythms coming in. So as soon as you are 16 feet from another heart, y'all are already trying to figure out how to beat together. So let's get real tuned into our body drums so we know how to play well together. And noticing what it might feel like to offer yourself some movement, whether it be internally oriented movement or a little bit more externalized movement, to represent your recognition that that's the space you take up. You don't stop at your skin. And this beat that we're aiming to try to figure out how to do one another, we're doing so amidst the ecosystem of collapse of colonialism and capitalism and all of the systems of harm, including white supremacy, that is going little by little bit down into the fucking compost pile, where it's gonna get really hot and really fucking stinky for a while. And we gotta figure out how to beat our hearts together amongst that kind of like, whoa, like rubble, like gnarly. Like, how do I keep my body integrous enough to show up right now so that I can be there for your body? So you're welcome to stay in this place of receptivity that you're in, movement that you're in. If you're a visual learner and like to see diagrams, there's going to be things drawn up on the board for the next little bit so you can think about them. So, do. So this is a visual reminder of our vagal nerves. %, body to brain. And a little reminder as well. Oh, there's orange. Yes. Yep. That from our heart, which I might make red, that we beat 8 feet all around us. And now we talked about how the heart's a drum. Our body has certain anatomical spaces that help this heartbeat conduct in certain ways and also help us receive the beat of other hearts. And they're pretty core places. They're not the only ones. Your body remembers everything. Every single one of your 600 muscles has a really big impact as to like how you conduct with other folks. But sometimes we're like, how do I pay attention to all 600? Like, that's a lot, especially if we're pretty practiced at dissociating. So an invitation to concentrate on these parts kind of as like 6 strings on a guitar. Like the space between the strings is what you're actually listening to when it gets plucked. Kind of similarly, these are ways that we can tune into specific areas of our body that have a big interplay as to whether or not we are sliding into survival mode or if we're in connection mode. And we can be in both at the same time. Yeah. We have a pretty versatile system if we use it well. Welcome, love. So, the drums are our feet, our pelvic bowl, our little hearty heart, our vocal cords, our eardrums, and our hands. We'll do a deep dive into each of them later. What's up? Ooh, the question was how can both systems be active at the same time? Well, one pretty simple offering is every breath it's doing both. There may be more emphasis with one during certain breaths, and sometimes a breath might pull it all the way over into one, but more often than not, your in-breath's a little sympathetic and your out-breath's a little parasympathetic. It's oscillation. Yeah, depending on which muscles you're using, because there's some that are innervated for parasympathetic function, so like helping us rest and digest, and there's some that are innervated for sympathetic function or like alertness and action. More often than not. Yeah, you can kind of think about like percentages. Yeah. Totally. Any other C's? Maybe? Yeah? Response? That's a way to make ratio. Then the portion's more up and sympathetic, yeah. Like the quick breath, yeah. And then the more you emphasize your exhale, the higher the likelihood is that you'll be in your parasympathetic. Now, for folks who have typically frozen or submitted or fawned in response to stress, that's a little bit more parasympathetic dominated function because it's like part of the collapse system. So always using breaths that slow us down if we're part of that grouping of people where that's been our strategy for survival, that might be a little bit tricky because we don't want to get ourselves stuck there. And parasympathetic function is fucking awesome. Because like sympathetic is where you get aroused, parasympathetic is where you get to orgasm. You need both. It's a good balance. Do you have a question? No, you're just resonance and enjoyment. Yay. Okay. So we're going to learn a little bit of song to memorize these. Anybody remember heads, shoulders, knees, and toes? Yeah? Okay. You're welcome to stand up if you want to play. Or you can play seated down. So same tone. This is an opportunity for us to sing the song in the direction of aiming to get more resourced from down here, because colonialism likes to play top down. So the better we can play bottom up, the better we can like power bottom the revolution. That's my mission, I guess. Okay, so head, shoulders, knees and toes, yeah? So we got feet, bowl, fram, bowl, fram, bowl. Okay. Fram for your diaphragm. Yeah, I had to shorten it. Okay, so feet, bowl, fram, bowl, fram, bowl again. Feet, bowl, fram, bowl, fram, bowl. See, it's coordination. And then we're going to go heart and chords and drums and... How it goes? You're going to say, I'm going to get the rhythm in a second. You're going to say, oh, no, that goes the other way. Chords, drums, hands, and heart. Yeah. For the eyes and ears and mouth and nose part, we're going to go chords, drums, hands, heart. Okay, from the beginning. Feet, bowl, fram, bowl, fram, bowl. Feet, bowl, fram, bowl, fram, bowl. Chords and drums and hands and heart. People, framble, framble. Yeah? Framble. Okay, I'm gonna be not mic'd for a second because I want to sing actually with you all because there's reverb. We are kids, especially when we get stressed. We're all just kids trying to figure this fuck out. The inner child needs some tools. Ooh. Yeah, I had a teacher like over a decade ago, like downloading all of the different forms of tending to complex trauma that I've done. They're like, if you can't teach it to a kid, you're not going to be able to download it in a session. It cannot come from this 15% top down and help us with everything that's flooding from the 85% bottom up. So I don't know about y'all, but like definitely certain social settings give me the fucking creeps. But then I have to figure out if I'm actually going to be safe enough there. And then I can figure that out. This song can be a really helpful tool. Also one where you're like, I'm feeling a little like frenzied in the brain. Get yourself back down to your feet. And I purposely ordered the body drums in that way to spend more time on our bottom half. So, feeble, framble, framble. And if you come up and sing this to me for the rest of the festival, I'm so excited. Okay, so one of the things that we can also remember this whole 85% thing. Oh, I forgot to draw the other bodies. And you have 500 muscles. So this whole 85% thing rounds out, it's a little bit more than 5, to this learning principle that some of you might be aware of in like how often you need to do something to acquire a new skill. And remember, you are in a choice-based experience. So the portion that we need to do the things we desire is 5 times for every 1 time we might do it a way we don't want to. Yep. This is for any skill acquisition, okay? But like we're looking at like the skills we need to do together to be able to liberate ourselves and save our own lives. Like we got to do the things that work way more often than the things that don't work. Or if you are, I don't know, teaching yourself to breathe in a more balanced way and you take a really anxious. It's like a fucking anxious breath. It's a anxious breath. If you take a breath that doesn't necessarily feel that great or supports you in that moment, can you breathe 5 that could? If you just did a movement that didn't feel good because of an old injury, can you do 5 movements that might remind that injury you have its back? If we say something funky to the body we love, is it possible to then figure out how to say 5 things that we really mean, you know? Welcome, friends. Thank you so much for being here. Yeah, can we brainstorm a little bit together, like opportunities that you might envision to apply this 5 to 1 thing, which is similar to the 5 to 1 direction and the 5 to 1 direction. It's all kind of the same thing. Friend, yeah. Yeah. Yep. Word. Yeah. I shared that like you say 1 negative thing towards yourself, what might be possible to say 5 positive or at least neutral or affirming or supportive things back to yourself? Yeah, 100. Because neural flexibility, y'all. Neurons that fire together, wire together, and make stronger roads. or whatever other currents, rivers, valleys, yeah, mycelial nodes. Yeah, or five other, yeah. Well, you eat one thing that your body's like, no thanks. Eat five things that it's like, thank you. That's so good. 100. And it's all about ratios. We breathe 22,000 times a day, which is pretty cool. Some of them you can't control because you're sleeping, unless you have a CPAP machine. Um, but yeah, of the ones that we have choice, it's really like breath budgeting. I know budget is not the greatest word, but like if you find another one that we could use, let me know. Rationing, balancing, allocation. Oh, okay, wordsmiths. Yes. Also offering breaths to like really check in with your body, and if you feel like you want to move to a different spot in the room, if you want to change your body shape. Also, if there's reflections about anything we've shared so far, we can kind of use this as a little like pause point. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you do a challenging thing, then you give your body an opportunity to do 5 restorative movements, 5 restorative actions. Mm-hmm. Bring some homeostasis. Now be mindful on that one. I'm just going to like talk to the shadow of that offering, is that comforting ourself versus restoring ourself are very different things sometimes. So when we do something challenging and we need to bring ourselves back to balance, may it be things that bring us more into presence, more into connection, more into our own support, more into our integrity. So like, it's nuanced, but yeah. Mm-hmm. Welcome, new friends. Does anybody want to share the song that we learned earlier for the folks who have arrived to orient them to our body drums? I'll do it with you. Yeah? So we're learning about how to prioritize our body, go body up. All right. 1, 2, 3. Feed, bowl, framble, framble. Feed, bowl, framble, framble. Chords and drums and hands and heart. Feed, bowl, framble, framble. Fram is diaphragm. Vocal cords, eardrums, and your hands and your heart. All right, y'all. Okay, so, and why are they important? Yeah, thank you. Why are they important, friends? Mm-hmm. They resonate the heartbeat. They help us like tune our internal rhythms. And also you can kind of think about each of them too as their own like rhythmic opportunity. You know how when folks' feet hit the ground, it sends a really big message? Depending on how people walk around you, you get to know a lot about them. Yeah? And you get to know a lot about yourself by paying attention to those 200,000 nerve endings on each one of your feet. Okay. And so they each have resonance, yeah? So the amount of contraction, the amount of release, the amount of openness, the amount of closedness, the amount of, pain or ease or pleasure. Doo-doo-doo. Wow. I hope that reads. Okay. So because we are in this very intense moment where there is intense climate collapse and there is the fortunate yet very dangerous collapse of colonialism and capitalism happening simultaneously, our bodies are going to go into survival mode naturally, and they should. And those gears of survival, we fare better with them the more fluidly we can move in and out of them, notice them, give honoring to them, give gratitude to them, and be in relationship with them. Celebrate the fact that our bodies are trying to figure out how to get to the survival response of connection. Our bodies are trying to figure out how to get to the survival response of connection, because that's one of them. Now, something to hold in your mind and your heart is that our survival responses are also built in a hierarchy. I hate that word, but it's what we need right now to describe this. There is a hierarchy of felt sense of agency as to which survival response your body will choose on your behalf in certain dynamics. The more agency you feel and the more belonging you feel, your body could choose connection. You have a stressful your day, like, I need to call my bestie. Where's my ma? Like, where's my favorite, like, beach side that I need to go, like, drop into? We can choose connection, yeah? If we don't feel we have agency around that, then we might try to fight the thing that we don't want to have around us. It might even be inside of us. We might flee from the thing that we don't want to be around, avoid it, make distance, etc. Those are mobilizing responses, and our bodies only do them when we feel like we have enough agency that mobility is going to help us out. Yeah? Does that make sense? After I name all of them, I'm going to take a little survey of the crew as to like who's familiar with these responses so we can remember that we all do them. None of them are to have shame around. It's our body trying to use our ancestral download of survival to figure out how to take our very next breath. It's super intelligent. Not always helpful, but we're trying to help them out. So if you have a felt sense of a little less agency, your body might just hold still and find a freeze response. A prolonged freeze response will feel like depression. If holding still in those environments that we might be in doesn't feel safe enough to do, but we can't necessarily feel like we could fight back or get away, aka we live in a colonial state, we are here. We have to figure out how to act while we're here. Our body will do either a fawn or a submit response. And they can kind of dance with each other and seem sort of similar, but there's some distinctions between the two. A submit response is like a go along to get along. You're gonna like, body will know how to flow with a situation, even though you might not be consenting to flow that way. You might say things you wish you didn't say. You might intuit some desire of somebody who you perceive has more power, and then you act within their will, but that's not necessarily your authentic will. And we have bug friends. And then appease or fawn, they kind of dance together, is where you start to act like, think like, move like, reinforce behavioral patterns of the systems around you that are actually causing harm to you and those around you. You're not consciously choosing this. Your body is adapting to make sure you take your very next breath. So let's give like some really big thank yous to the fact that they have got us here. Like they've got us to this point. Like shout out to Shireen's song last night about generational fucking fantastic healing. Like our ancestors got us here so that we can show the fuck up. So however we've survived to get here, let's thank it. But we also got to get like way better at like being in relationship with our survival responses. Yeah, because we need to mobilize towards connection, and to do so, guess what? This is why we're in the fire element, because you need to figure out how to have a fuck ton of adrenaline in your body that's going to want to make you fight something. We are going to have to move through fight to get to connect. Who likes fighting? The PNW is averse to fighting. But we have to figure out how to fight for each other, with each other, on behalf of each other, and on behalf of ourselves to be able to get ourselves towards connection. And our body drums need enough space in them, versatility in them, strength in them, flexibility in them, to be able to like help us do that. Y'all feel me? Cool. So now we're going to hang out with our body drums under that perspective. So I want to get some raised hands. Who knows in relationship to self or close people what an appease and a fawn response looks like, feels like? Make some sound if you want to. Yeah, this one's the trickiest because people will, anyways, I don't need to give context. Y'all know. If you want more, please ask. Okay, hands for fawn and appease. Hands for submit. Any other body part or a hand for freeze? Yeah, just hold the fuck still. I'm just gonna freeze here for a second. This is really scary. Who knows avoid or flight? Well, I'm not gonna talk about that. Woo! I was gonna avoid that person. No, thank you. And then who knows fight? Who knows fight in other people's bodies around us? So there's your first model of fight. We got to contend with that to figure out what yours is. Hey, it's a workout. Let's go. I'm going to offer a little bit more movement-based, like rhythmic music, but still going to be pretty slow. And I want to invite you all an opportunity to take some time to like really recognize the power of your survival responses. They got you here. But then also be like, this could be an opportunity here and now for me to give myself 5 opportunities to support my body drums. So I'm going to give some ideas. So if your body is used to a submit, your body is probably used to dropping in certain places, shrinking in certain places, softening your whole system. Like a full submit response is what happened to our bodies when we fall. We get really loosey-goosey so that when we land, we don't break anything. That's what submit is like. Freeze, rigid. So as I'm talking about the qualities of these survival responses, they're translating across all of your drums. Those drums know how to move to execute that response. Y'all feel me? So for example, if you go back to the like submit response, if your body's experienced a lot of softening, how can you like get some motherfucking power in that part of your body and like be like, yeah, like I got this. That part of your body needs a heck of a lot more input in the direction you want it to function for you. And you're the only one that gets to choose how to contract or release, strengthen or soften your body. Yeah, we on the same page? Responses? I love the snaps. Thank you for letting me know. I got a response. So I can drink water. Let's put you on the mic.
I think something that's been helpful for me, like pulling back from initial fight stuff, just from being raised as a boy in this culture and then pulling back from it and sort of refinding it, is that, fight can be harnessed lovingly. Like I can feel that in my system, and that's like when it feels more generative, that's more likely to be the signal when I can feel it like a loving pull into strength as opposed to a strain. I can really feel that like in my brain stem, and it's hot versus like more warm, I guess.
Word, and what I'm receiving in that is like, if your stress responses have localized in a certain part of your body, that's just one area. How can you bring on more of your system to create balance? Yeah, that's like recruiting from some of those other muscles. Yeah. I'm just gonna do this. This is so good.
Fighting is not my default, but I've noticed that when I feel that it's in defense of truth, or like it's an activating power. I've learned that like if there's something that I feel like needs to be defended or protected, that is when it's like, I don't know if righteous is the right word, but that's when that activation of, it's not an anger, but it's that desire to like fight for something rather than against or
to dominate. Yeah. So do use our fight and purpose of protection rather than domination or competition. Like a sacred rage, yeah. 100. I know for me, if I need to like share my anger with somebody, and I'm like Aries stellium, got raised in a family where we could yell, like it feels okay for me to fight because I know that fighting can happen okay enough, and it tends to work out somehow, or it doesn't, but it's like not super dangerous. Like that's my like first relationship with getting opportunity to get pissed. But I know that I need to be in a big enough space that I'm probably like about 16 feet away from your heart, so I can keep my own heart space and really listen to my rhythm, and to get loud when I need to get loud, and to be in a space enough that I can raise my voice without it hurting my own ears. The tism is strong, like I said in the beginning, and I have really sensitive ears, so I need to be outside so that I don't yell myself quiet. I need to be able to yell and like be held by trees or mountains or the ocean or like something that lets my voice resonate. Yeah? I probably have some music on so there's like a good beat too. I can like stomp a little bit, let myself cry. Like, damn, I'm pissed because I love you so much and that's why I'm telling you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't tell you. You know? Y'all are real quiet. Okay, I'm gonna turn some music on. Hey, we're right on time too. I planned well with hippie time. Yeah. Okay, y'all might know this song, but it's an instrumental. So please remember that yes, of course you're in choice, but I think you'll get a lot more feedback from this exercise if you change place and you kind of treat this as a little bit of a mobile dance floor. If you want to be more in stillness, maybe hug the center or hug the edge. And as you're walking around, giving yourself an opportunity to tune into your feet. And your feet are welcome to walk at whatever pace, whatever intensity of contact. And our feet, each one of them has 200,000 nerve endings on them. What could it feel like to walk or to stand with as much focus on each one of those nerves? And nerves, they can both receive and give. So are you walking in a way that you also give yourself opportunity to listen? There's a lot going on under your feet. There's bugs, mycelial networks, roots, water, slugs, worms. And way underneath you is the pulsing life of this fucking planet we get to live on. That's fucking rad. And now if you've been paying attention with your eyes, I'm going to invite you to try to be as least eye focus as possible. And practice in your own way, walking through actually feeling your feet. The more often we do this actually throughout our lifetime, the less likely we are to fall down. And I don't want any of us to unnecessarily fall down right now. Let's stay upright together. Maybe I need to get closer to that speaker. And if you've been walking in either halftime or in time with this song, please feel welcome to double time it, speed it up. If your body's like, no, I need motion right now, like, you know, but then make sure there's also people around you that are going to want to be still or slow, so we're moving with each other by listening through our feet. If there's an experience happening in your body that you would like to also give an opportunity to drop down through your feet, you're welcome to send that. And then shifting your attention to your pelvic bowl. Give yourself opportunity to move in this moment through what your pelvic bowl needs. You might start by shifting it side to side, maybe around in circles, maybe in figure eights. You're welcome to drop your hip close to the ground if you want to take a squat. Yeah, dropped at the right time. Yeah. And so this pelvic bowl gives us an opportunity to understand better, like what we could be open to, what we're supporting ourselves with, what we're letting go. You know, to pair with the phrase of we got our own back, what if we had our own bottom? We could hold ourselves there. This is also a really neurologically dense space in our body, similar to our feet. Depending on your anatomy, you have anywhere from 4,000 to 10,000 nerve endings in the most concentrated spaces of this part of your body. I won't say which is which, but you might know the superior one. No, I'll leave the word superior out. That wasn't nice. Just more neurologically dense. And maybe giving yourself an opportunity to tune in at this point what your most typical survival response has been. How does it translate in this part of your body? And then as it's becoming a little bit more apparent how it translates, what would this part of your body need to know for your 5 points of input for it to remember how well you can take care of it? I was doing like Richard Simmons earlier, or like, you know, I think he did a little bit more like this. You know? What kind of play does this part of your body need? What kind of like any of those 5 positive inputs? So that like your root can hold you, and now you need to move. And then translating your attention up to your diaphragm, maybe giving it a little bit more space. Remember, you can continue to move through the space. And while we're paying attention to these drums, you know, we have the fortune of people being willing to be around us while we're activating our drums, being like, damn, thank you for paying attention to yours. Good job. So get curious about where your diaphragm might want you to move. Who do you want to breathe next to right now? You get to choose. Our diaphragm is built in a way that when we exhale, it gives a hug to our vagus nerve. So what kind of hug might you want right now? And also, the diaphragm doesn't only just go out and in, it goes up and down. So for those that you want to get a little freaky with your nervous system, how do you want to stroke your vagus nerve? We all need different kind of strokes for different folks. Your inhale and your exhale is your internal rhythm to help your body know that you're tuning in, taking care. And how you hug yourself will also communicate to the people around you. That's how you might hug them. And maybe they don't want to be hugged like you like to hug yourself. So you gotta be able to figure that out right here. And so we have our feet, bowl, and diaphragm on board. If you're interested in connecting with somebody in this space, maybe figuring out if you can notice whose body might want to move with you by how their feet are tuning in with you, how their hips might be like, what up? Or no thank you. And you might do so right at that 16 feet distance of like, hey, I might take a couple breaths with you because my diaphragm's like, that'd be cute. And then as you feel ready to, bringing your attention to your vocal cords, getting curious about how your breath is moving through them, any sounds that might want to come through, some hums, some sighs, some la la las, some like, oh goodness, whatever they might need to utter. And maybe, whether internally or externally, which is a very brave thing to maybe choose, there's possibly some things in our survival moments that we wish we could have said, and we might not have been able to. The more often you give yourself the chance to hear yourself say those things, even though it's decontextualized, is super fucking important. And no is a full sentence. And yes is also a full fucking sentence. But you get the opportunity to kind of give yourself a moment being like, are there things that I wish I could have been able to say? Or things that I wish I didn't say? And what would have I wanted to say instead? We need to hear ourselves say that as often as possible, and at minimum at that 5-to-1 ratio. So getting curious about a couple more breaths, maybe through your vocal cords. And then translating your attention to your eardrums, getting curious what it might feel like to move them a little bit, either through opening and closing your jaw, moving your ears a little, yawning. You can massage behind them. You could also move that part of your body to give a little bit of a more like, I can change my acoustic experience by moving my own head. Giving thanks to our eardrums for being as sensitive as they are, but also they might give us some moments of figuring out what we are no longer willing to listen to on purpose for our collective liberation. And maybe there are some sounds that we need to practice paying a little bit more attention to, be willing to hear. Things are going to get real loud. They already are really loud. And we need to be able to stay present. That was really cool. That was silence while I said that. Go playlist. That we need to be able to stay present with. And as a very auditorily sensitive human, that's my work right now. I need to be in loud environments and be able to stay present. How do I do that? Ear pro. Support buddy. Choosing my time that I can be there, but make sure I still show up. Who do I need to be listening to and learning from right now? This weekend is full of badasses, y'all. We got to see Shireen last night. Shout out to Alixa in the back. Gonna be doing a workshop after this. Oh my gosh, big love. Listen. Listening's the first hug. This is Aaron Johnson's hat. All right, give a little love to your eardrums. And last, we'll check in with our hands. There's 17,000 nerve endings on each one of them. Super dexterous. I don't know if you all have ever touched yourself or permitted yourself to touch somebody from all 17,000. Give it a whirl. It's really fucking cool. AKA, how does Reiki happen? I got systems to move some shit. Yeah, we all do. So give yourself an opportunity to figure out, how do my hands want to move in this moment? Where do they want to make contact? What kind of rhythm might want to come out of them? What kind of fists do I need to feel? In all the ways. I forgot to say this in my intro. My kink is collective survival. Yeah, like hardcore. In all of the ways. Ecosexual to the fucking T. And with that, we have a big, big love mission to be up to right now that requires a lot of neurological resource to be able to do so. So this 5-to-1 ratio, we have some really big sensations that are being downloaded right now in what we need to be able to feel and metabolize and grieve through and feel through to be able to continue to move in like solutionary ways. And I just thought of too many things at the same time. Hang on. The 5-to-1 ratio. So we also learned through intensity and repetition. Can y'all still hear me okay over the music? Is it working well? Okay. So we are continually experiencing a high frequency of high intensity pain, hardship, heartache, loss, displacement, witnessing or directly experiencing genocide, ecological collapse. Those are all very intense things that our bodies are going to have survival responses to. So we need to be able to meet that level of intensity with our 5 of commitment, of care, of action, of pleasure, of joy, of remembrance, of celebration, of ceremony, in service of resolving why the first thing hurt. If they're not directly connected, we're just escaping. Yeah? So our bodies need to be able to feel that. So personally, that needs to be very intense for me, because my 1s to 5s, the 1s, having metabolized as much complex trauma as I have in my life and my career, they've got to be pretty big points of pleasure, or pretty big, deep rememberings, system-wide holdings. Like the size has to match, the intensity has to match for the purpose of us staying present. Yeah? We got some like yeses, some snaps. We here for it? Cool. So we're gonna give you all an opportunity we're in like feedback session right now. We got 10 minutes to hang out with each other, download what we've downloaded, like crystallize resources that were shared. And I'm wondering if we can do so in a circle that doesn't feel too spread out. And I don't know if it's interruptive to have the fire in the center or not. I don't know. We can figure this out together. We probably should keep the fire at the center. Yeah. Salud. So I have some like potentially guidey questions that could start us off. First off, since we arrived together, or since you arrived to this space, I'd love to hear anything that you have felt shift in your body, sensationally speaking. Space opening up. Word. It dropped out of the head and into the body. Get out of my head, get into my body. Anybody know Beck's Lips? It's a great song. Okay. Ah! Welcome, friend. Yay! How are you all auditorially? Do I need to repeat, or can you hear each other? Okay. Cool. Oh, say it again for the folks at the edge. This person was able to feel their heartbeat in all of our body drums. So like feet, diaphragm, pelvic bowl. Yeah. Yeah. Woo! Well done. So arousal was able to be felt and then dispersed so the whole system could hold it. I have to take a pause before I repeat that back. That was so good. So in a place of like drums being disconnected from one another, realizing the disconnection is the first place to start. And then how do you create a trail or a walkway or a connection point or a tether or a river or whatever between them so they can start to actually... Recognizing lack of clarity as a form of clarity. Okay, existentialist. Let's just like riff on that for a second. Whoopsies. I'm gonna add some questions into the fire here. We can keep answering that one of like what's shifted. Let's hear some ones. How do you typically feel adrenaline in one of the body drums you paid the most attention to today? How does adrenaline hit that? Another question could be, how do you feel strength, connection, support, pleasure, arousal, any of the 5s we want to go towards in those drums? I'll hold those 2, yeah. How do you feel adrenaline? And then also, how do you feel supported, connection, care, etc.? And remember, you're in a choiceful place. You all like sat down like crisscross applesauce, like very orderly. This is just one choice. You can be wherever you need to be as long as we can hear and see everybody. Mm-hmm. Hell yeah. Things that are stuck in a certain drum can be held by other drums, and it makes it a little bit easier when the whole body comes online. We can co-lift with each other. And also normalizing that if that is like something we don't get to experience often, and our body's like, oh wow, I now have this capacity, I want to lovingly say that we will probably revisit all of the moments in which it did the thing on our behalf that created that stuck spot. And so like as those memories come up, please love on them. Say thank you. Thank you for doing that for me. Thank you for taking that kind of breath. Thank you for holding still. Like, thank you for understanding I needed to wire that way in that moment. Thank you for teaching me that I have options. You know? What are ways you like to feel strength, pleasure, support, play, delight, reverence? Paddleboarding, yes. Buoyancy, such a blessing when life is heavy. One-on-one, yeah. One-on-one resonance with somebody who's safe enough to connect to and who doesn't try to stop feeling what you're feeling. Because when we try to connect with some folks who don't have drums that are ready to hold with us, it's not going to feel very good. We got to find people who have drums that are ready to beat with us. And when it happens, it's fantastic. Patiently experience the ebbs and the flows. Oh, fun, yeah. Like the relational rhythm of proximity or distance. 100. Slowing down. That might be the opposite of capitalism. Going in non-linear directions might be the opposite of capitalism. Moving in circles with each other might be the opposite of colonialism. Not might be, it is. Let's just be real. Anything can satisfy, yes. So let's go, I want to like translate some of this stuff into our muscles. And then I want to close out with a poem because we started with a poem. So like I was sharing earlier, in this like figuring out what our 5-to-1 ratio is of like teaching our body, sharing with our body, supporting our body, and experiencing sensations that help us know that we can stay present, we can stay in integrity, we can stay moving towards connection. We're going to need to figure out what are some intense sensations that we may not have explored before. Because a lot of what happens is like when the intensity of adrenaline comes up, we're like, oh, that's too big. I'm not allowed to feel that. Shame comes through, all of this kind of like shut down. What are ways that we can also teach our body that that intensity can be equally matched with intensity? Survival channels need intensity of movement to help adrenaline move through our body. Movement can be whatever your body needs, but I want to encourage you to figure out what's your intensity edge. How do you help that adrenaline like flush the fuck through? Yeah, cold plunging, big jumping, big drumming, same. Impact play with kink, same. Having fucking awesome sex with consensual people in an intense way, let your body make love to all of those fucking drums well. Through the way that you dance with yourself, through the way that you dance with other people. Like, we need to be able to be willing to feel intensity so that when intensity comes towards us, we don't cower or collapse or avoid. We go, yeah, I could handle that. But maybe on Tuesday, could we schedule some time? Because I know I want to have space to be able to hold you. Or like, yeah, I could right now. You feel me? Yeah? Okay. Super open for questions afterwards. Want to share this poem to close out as an invitation to some ways to think about loving on ourselves. And the poem's written, I am the caliber of lover who, and I want to invite you all to consider, we are the caliber of lover who. And any of the lines in here that you identify with, feel free to run frolic with them, okay? And again, please receive this in whatever shape your body wants to be in. And if any lines come to your mind about like what kind of caliber of lover you want to be for your body and the bodies around you, this is a collective piece. So add in. I'm the caliber of lover who keeps myself true, who plays and fights fair. I'm the caliber of lover who tenderly holds your hand, sharing love through the presence and pressure of my palm and the caress of my fingertips, and who loves to put the ease into your exhales. And snaps are welcome. You don't have to receive this silently. I'm the caliber of lover from whom you can feel the heat of my touch before I even begin to caress your skin. I'm the caliber of lover that listens to the sweetness of your inhales, to the nuanced length and strength of your exhales, traveling to the parts of your body that you would like me to please. I'm also the caliber of lover who will joyfully leave handprints on your ass and will happily be marked in return, and who jokes and chokes hard enough to make your eyes roll. I'm the caliber of lover who loves to orchestrate your orgasms with my tongue, who maximizes the ripple effects of your pleasure so that you don't stop short, so that you get to keep rolling and rolling and rolling as long as your body needs to writhe to experience your fully potentiated release. I'm the caliber of lover who honors the wisdom of your ancestors, nourishing you from the marrow center of your being, who yokes out hard so that I can carry the relational yoke with you side by side, hombro a hombro, heart by heart, and I will do extra back and leg days to hold that yoke steady when you need to rest. Yes, I will. I'm the caliber of lover who is equally as focused on nurturing and protecting the health of your soul as the softness of your skin. The caliber of lover who deeply cares about the quality of your rest and the depth of your sleep, and who will always be down to learn something new with you. And the caliber of lover who will rally to stay present and connected with you as we grieve and fight and love into existence the galactic transformation we are within. Poem. Blessings to you all. Thank you so, so much for being here. You can find me anywhere at Morganic Movement. And I'm super down for collaborations and stoked to be here with you all this weekend. Yeah. Cheers. Gratitude. Me.